welcome back to Obscured Reality. Yes, we're back. We're back every week, right? Oh boy. All right, tonight we are going to talk about 3i Atlas. Go over basically an update show. We've done a previous one. As you may have noticed, I believe it was a different type of show. From time to time, we will be doing a new type of show. Still mixed with the stories, truth, and a little bit of sarcasm and humor too. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of oddities about 3i Atlas. You guys all heard about 3i Atlas. We're not showing you pictures of videos. We've already done that in the past. You guys have seen them all. I mean, they're freaking everywhere right now. And what do you believe? Well, we're going to go over the oddities. We're going to talk about this. I believe Stephanie mentioned the other day to me she might have some questions or some things she heard about or something. So, um, we'll see. She's mentioned she heard some things about it. So she was excited.
I had seen some headlines about
Headlines
it.
like TikTok headlines or
No,
news
like
headlines?
news. Like I open my Google app and it shows me my
Oh, yeah.
news. Yeah.
Well, we're going to get into it. We want to talk about these oddities. And for some of them, I want to give some explanations because some of these, at least one, Avi Loeb has said something in particular from the beginning, and it never made sense to me why that one particular oddity is actually odd. And now I know. So we'll explain a couple of these, and it makes a little more sense. But let's get into it. Then we'll talk about our opinions on this thing after the fact here. So let's go over the oddities. As of now, last I could find, there's around 13, maybe more oddities with this thing. Now, it's important to remember this is an interstellar comet. It didn't come from within our solar system.
Nope.
This thing has probably been out there cruising around for hundreds of thousands of years, more likely millions of years, and very possibly a billion or more years. And we'll might look at that a little bit in here, but let's just give a brief rundown on that. Let's say you have a star that's only 6 light years away. Now I'm referring to Sagittarius because this thing came through Sagittarius. Didn't originate in Sagittarius. We don't know where. We'll never know where. But it came through. Now I've found different numbers here, but one of the numbers I found is one of the closest stars to us that makes up the constellation Sagittarius is only 6 light years away. So imagine 3i Atlas at its speed, the original speed I was hearing before it was even in our solar system, about 130,000 miles per hour. At that speed, imagine it coming through the constellation Sagittarius, and once it gets the same distance from us as that closest star in Sagittarius, which is 6 light years away, now we have an issue. What's the issue? Well, light years, light speed. Light speed is 670 million miles per hour. Insane. A light year, how long it takes you to travel a specific distance in 1 year if you're traveling at the speed of light. Well, 3i Atlas is not at the speed of light or anywhere even a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of that. 130,000 miles per hour, at least at the beginning. From that 6 light year away mark, it would have taken over 30,000 years for this comet to get to us, just from the closest star in Sagittarius. Now imagine it's come all the way through Sagittarius and way out there. We're talking
so crazy.
We're talking possibly over 450 light years away. We're talking possibly over 80 million light years away. I mean, you don't know. It could have come from the other side of the galaxy. Imagine that. I mean, you're talking billions of years. This thing's out there traveling. It's been estimated that over its lifetime, this thing could have come near 20 to 25 different stars. Obviously, that, depending on how close it gets, could and would change its trajectory slightly, putting it on its final course, well, final as of now, right, to our solar system. And it's currently leaving and going out, and it'll be gone. By the way, today is Tuesday, November 18th, when we're recording this. So Atlas has already past perihelion. Perihelion is when it's at its closest point to the sun, our star.
Hmm.
So let's get into the oddities, okay? So the first one, and these are in no particular order. There's a high CO2 to H2O ratio. The JWST, the James Webb Space Telescope data shows a coma dominated by CO2 with a CO2 slash H2O ratio of 8 to 1, which is far above typical solar system comets.
Hmm.
They're expecting a lot more. Or I'm sorry, less. I'm thinking of the nickel iron. Um,
Yeah.
so there's one oddity. Again,
Hmm.
could possibly be explained by interstellar. Remember, we don't know where this
Yeah.
thing originated or how or when or why, what it's made up of. So, what we're seeing could be totally normal. Number two, nickel vapor without iron. Okay. Spectral observations reveal a large nickel emission, but virtually no iron, which is atypical for cometary outgassing. Now, what's the truth in that and what's not? The first part, nickel vapor without iron, that's not true. There is iron,
Hmm.
as the rest of that stated. The problem is they typically see quite a bit more iron with the nickel. The only times they see the nickel with as little iron as seems to be producing by the off gassing is in manufactured processes that we do. That to our current understanding is the only way to get that. They go hand in hand. So that's interesting, however, could be explained by interstellar. Number three. So anti-solar tail or an anti-tail
Hmm.
and sun-facing dust plume. So anti-tail is a tail that's facing towards the sun. The regular cometary tail is the one facing away from the sun. Important to remember, sun, comet. As the comet's going around, that tail is always pointing away from the sun. Or if it's an anti-tail, it's always pointing towards the sun, even though it'll look weird. Comet's going one way, the tail's not trailing behind it. It's kind of to
Right.
the side. It's what's getting heated up or, and being pushed back by the solar wind. Um, the object shows a sunward facing dust plume rather than the usual tail, and later an anti tail opposite the sun in imaging. Now, it's also important to note early on in the current history of 3i Atlas, we had seen an anti tail. After that had dissipated, gone away, I don't know, but it wasn't much of a thing anymore. And then after perihelion, boom, we have an anti-tail present again. They
Hmm.
also saw like 7 jets of anti-tail coming out in a few different from the front, or maybe sun facing, but in a couple different directions. And that was interesting and suggestive as well. Now get these numbers. The anti-tail, oh my god, it's just so hard to fathom. The anti-tail is about 8 million miles long. Sun facing dust plume is 30 to 90,000 miles long. I mean, that's insane right there, but 8 million miles long for the anti-tail.
For
That's
reference, like,
freaking
what's the
insane.
distance between us and the moon? Like, for reference.
Yeah, good question.
I'm just kind of curious. Like, is this like, I'm just curious. That's all.
You'd have to look it up. I could look it up,
Yeah,
but
I mean, you could because you
um
usually get on me for looking things up on my phone. So, so
eight.
I'm gonna let you do
Well,
that.
no, no, no. That's when you just randomly start looking down in a way. Blah blah blah.
Okay,
You're an alien. Um.
lizard.
Okay, so anti-tail, 8 million miles long. Now, I was listening to Avi Loeb today talk
Mm,
about this, and this is one of those things where he did a little more explanation than has been explained in the past. And he's done a little in the past as well on this particular one, but not as in depth. Now, I'm not going to go into great detail on this, but that 8 million mile long anti tail is an issue. That's an issue because they believe 3i Atlas, it's estimated to be only so big. And I want to say it's around, I don't know, approximately give or take 3 miles or so wideish. something like that. Um, that's a
Gee.
guesstimate. Okay, so the problem with this anti-tail is this thing getting close to the sun, and this anti-tail being so far out towards the sun.
Mhm.
He goes into explaining the particles that are being off gassed have to have a bigger mass. They're smaller, they need a bigger mass, and they need a lot of push. You have the solar radiation, the solar wind coming from the sun, which pushes, it's the solar wind, it pushes all that stuff back. That's where you get the regular tail. Well, the anti tail, as those particles shoot out in a jet towards the sun from the heating, the sublimation, there's only so far they can go. The solar wind is moving at a certain speed, and obviously that will push those particles back. That's dependent on the mass and the speed, the thrust that those things are getting shot out at, though,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So there is a point in which those particles can't go back anymore. They're going to be pushed back. Um, this is a problem with this 8 million mile long anti tail because Avi Loeb has done the calculations on this, and what he's stating is that to with 3i Atlas and what they're seeing and the jets coming out of this stuff, he said it seems like it's almost impossible at the size that we believe 3i Atlas is. After doing the calculations, he would expect a sun facing side of this comet or object to be so much more massive than what Atlas currently is believed to be. The sunward facing side would have to be massive, way more massive, and full of whatever that is that's being off gas, sublimating, and shooting out. And part of the problem is he's done the calculations on how much is coming out. The amount that is coming out uh, is just freaking insane.
Mm.
You would expect this all to be gone by now. You'd expect the comet to be done, just vaporized at this point. It's not big enough to hold this much material that's being sublimated and shot out towards the sun. This is why he brings up the ideas of we need to keep our minds open, whereas this is probably a comet. Maybe this is how it's going to look if it had been some form of alien technology. And he's not claiming it is, but
Mhm.
he is claiming there's too many oddities. We need to keep our minds open.
Yeah.
So, with just the sublimation, just this anti-tail alone, not it doesn't add up with the size and everything of Atlas. Um, he did say if you had some manufactured type thrusters, and who knows what kind of thrust technology, propulsion technology that would be, then you could have this happening with smaller particles with less mass, and these thrusters would be shooting this stuff out way faster. Ours, ours do.
Mm.
Our rockets and stuff shoot this, whatever they shoot out, worse than this.
Yeah.
And this thing is still 8 million miles long. So it's interesting. By the way, it has not broken up to their current understanding. They were thinking there's a chance this thing, because there's clearly a ton of pressure in there. If it's shooting shit out this far, they all are believing there has to be a ton of pressure going on. They were expecting at perihelion, there's a chance that it may have just boom,
Exploded.
blown up into
Yeah.
pieces, which is why you're seeing the fake bullshit TikTok videos right now of people saying it's broken up into 16 equal size parts. It hasn't to their current knowledge. There is a chance it did break up and those pieces are just too close together for us to be able to tell at this point. We're going
I'm
to have to
pretty
wait.
sure there was another like comet coming through that was called like the Golden Comet. It was also like also an atlas, if I remember the headline correctly, and that one did break up, but that was a smaller one that was
Yeah,
going by the sun.
and it was from our solar system.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's the only one that I know of that had an atlas attached to it in a form
Yeah.
that did break up. So I mean, obviously people are going to be like, "Oh, Let's classic misinformation,
Yeah.
misdirection. Yeah.
Well, now one thing with these 7 plumes of anti-tail, these 7
Mhm.
new jets after perihelion that they've seen coming out, there's a photo of it from one of the telescopes, and you can clearly see there's like 7 points of jets coming out.
Mhm.
They did say that one way you can account for that is if it did actually break up, because if it breaks up, now you have more surface area exposed
Right.
and you could possibly get that. But to our current knowledge, it has not broken up. So it's still baffling to them how there's an anti tail shooting out that far. So let's go on. Number 4, extremely rapid brightening, unusual color shift. Data shows the object brightened faster than typical comets and appears bluer than expected, suggesting gaseous emission dominating rather than dust. Now, this thing has changed colors a few times. There was a green in there as well at one point. Um, so again,
Pretty.
possibly could be because it's interstellar, but who knows what it's made of.
Pretty.
Um, yeah. Trajectory alignment with the ecliptic and planetary plane. This is
Number
interesting.
5.
Yeah. One anomaly flagged is that its inbound hyperbolic path, hyperbolic meaning it's going the opposite way around our star than the planets are. Planets are going this way, Atlas is going this way. Um, its hyperbolic path is unusually aligned close to the plane of the solar system's planets, which some interpret as odd. Avi Loeb has done the numbers on that. It's a 1 in 500 chance. Now, early on, I've had never once heard him explain why that's so odd. I look at 1 in 500 and I think, well, that's a pretty high chance of something coming on in the ecliptic plane. I was expecting to see a higher number, like 1 in 10,000, 1 in a
Yeah.
million. 1 in
Mhm.
500 doesn't seem
Sounds
that
kind of common.
odd. Yeah. Now, recently in the last few weeks, finally he's explained that. And
Mhm.
now it makes sense why 1 in 500 seems like a very low chance. I mean, I know it's low. 1 in
Mhm.
500, that's a fraction of a percent, but I expected it to be, you know, not a big deal. Well, here's why. So, the ecliptic plane, if you imagine a record or a CD, right? The sun is the hole in the middle. Well, our planets are all on that CD orbiting the sun, right?
Mhm.
That's the ecliptic plane. Well, the Milky Way galaxy works the same way, although the plane is much thicker, right?
Yeah.
Um, but it's a big kind of disk in a way. Um,
Yeah.
Everything's moving around the middle, black hole, whatever it is.
I mean, that's what
That's
it
that.
looks like from, the pictures that
Yeah,
we've seen. It looks like a disc just
yeah.
spinning.
That's what it is. Why you look up in the sky if you can ever see the Milky Way from where you're at,
It's
and
just
you'll
a
see just the
line.
grouping of it
Yeah.
like in a line, and that's why. But it's a thick disk, right?
Yes.
So a 1 in 500 chance. Well, now I
Thick.
know why
Sorry.
that is such a low chance and such an issue. Here's the Milky Way galaxy. Let's say this is the plane.
Mhm.
Now imagine our solar system. Here's our solar system's plane. Imagine us being our plane being this angled the same way the galaxy is. Boom. It is easy to believe at that point you could get comets coming from any direction, but especially on the ecliptic plane. But
Very
that's not
much
the
like an
case.
open door.
Yeah, and he also stated today the percentage of this angle. Or the degree. It's a 60-degree angle. So here's the galaxy's plane. Here's our plane. We're in there somewhere, but we're like tilted like this, something weird, right? Who knows? So there's going to be less chance of something coming in. Now, this is where I have another issue. And I think with all the stuff Avi Loeb's saying, which is really good stuff, I think he needs to explain in greater detail on some of these as to why that particular item is actually odd. In this case, we're floating around in the disk around the galaxy. It's not like the width of our solar system is wider than the thickness of the plane. of the galaxy. That's
Mhm.
not the case. So there's got to be comets everywhere, asteroids, meteorites, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, so
There's literally the
I want
asteroid
to,
belt.
well, I want to know why this is odd. Is it because everything's moving in one general direction and it's expected that the comets are mostly going in that direction? Obviously, some are going to be off and going different ways. You know,
Right.
I want more explanation on why. I believe him. I
Mhm.
don't doubt it at all. It sounds like it makes sense, but I want to know why that is so odd.
Mhm.
Um, because who knows? But again, that trajectory, well, it's interstellar. Could come in from any direction. Remember, this thing's probably been out there for a billion or more years.
Mhm.
How many stars have changed its trajectory? You could get it easily going against the grain in our galaxy.
It could be very
Maybe it
much
was
a
going
pinball effect.
sideways.
Like,
Well, that's
shoo,
exactly what it is.
shoo.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah. So, you know, but of course, if you look at the ecliptic plane of our solar system, that's a very tiny sliver to come in on
Mhm.
out of the whole freaking galaxy.
Yeah. I
So,
mean,
but who knows? There's tons of solar systems out there,
it's
right?
a highly improbable chance, but it's not an impossible chance.
Right. I argue this could very well be that 1 in 500. Unless we get another one in 10 years that does the same thing and another
Right.
one in 5 years, then it's what's going on, right?
Then how many times is a coincidence a coincidence?
Exactly.
Mhm.
And coincidence is what we're getting into here, too.
Mhm.
Number 6, large size or brightness early on. Early estimates from Discovery suggested a size or brightness larger than expected given detection statistics of interstellar objects, raising questions about how rare such large ones should be. Now, I've heard him talk about this numerous times, saying we would have expected uh, thousands and thousands of much, much, much smaller comets coming in before one of this size. Again, I need explanation on that. Why do you guys expect that? What is it? Because we're just now seeing these things coming in our solar system,
Mhm.
but we know they're out there, or we've seen them before, but we didn't have a way to tell they were interstellar, even though they're only using their trajectory, their speed, um, to tell them that. It's very simple. What? Why is it odd? Explain more. I believe it, but I need to know why, especially with something this odd. Explain every single oddity
And
in detail.
explain it
Why?
like I am a child. Like,
Explain it like I'm a stupid child, a more stupid child, right? Oh, what she just said there in her head was, "You are a stupid child."
no!
uh,
No, it was far opposite of that.
well, he does, and when he does explain these things, he does do a good job. He's got a lot of good
Mhm.
analogies for some of these, which is great. But I think he needs to do it on every single one. Make sure it's clear,
Mhm.
because here's another problem: none of the other scientists, astrophysicists, whatever, are really out there talking about this.
Yeah.
There's like one other one, maybe two. Everyone else is mum. You hear it in the
Mhm.
news. It almost seems like what I keep reading in the news anytime I do read something, it's like they're forcing a narrative. And I'm not saying they are, I'm not making that claim, but I for the last few weeks, each time I see something, I feel like I'm being forced a narrative because they're throwing some stuff in there that doesn't need to be there. Like they keep commenting, yes, which is normal for a normal interstellar comet. Oh, it's a interstellar comet because of this, which is totally normal. They keep pushing certain things that don't even really matter because if we don't know, we don't know. Um, it's interesting.
How can we call it normal when it's not normal? Like,
Well, we don't know that it's not normal. That's the
exactly. So how can
thing.
we
We
even
don't
say
know
that it's
anything.
normal?
Yeah. Exactly. So, yeah, interesting. I need more explanation from Avi Loeb or someone on why they believe we should have seen thousands and thousands and thousands of smaller ones, interstellar ones,
Mm,
before seeing one of this size. Why?
mm,
And I've heard him say something about there's not a lot of this stuff out there for this large stuff, and I'm like, how do you know that? How do you know this, guys?
right.
How?
How?
That's what I want to know. Number 7, activity at large heliocentric distances. It showed cometary type activity or outgassing at greater distances from the sun than many typical comets, implying volatiles or processes not standard. Yes, not standard. But again, third interstellar comet that we know for a fact we've seen. First
Mm,
one being Oumuamua, which was odd. Um, How do we know it's not standard? It's not standard to our current understanding. That doesn't mean this isn't standard for a comet of this type. We don't know. Number 8, composition, grain mix differences.
that was a
Reflective,
mouthful.
well, hold on. Reflectance spectroscopy. Goddamn. Sorry, my English is better than this. Reflectance spectroscopy suggests a somewhat unusual grain size distribution and surface composition compared to standard solar system comets.
Jesus.
Examples
Okay.
different reflectivity slopes, hinting at a different origin. Well, what do you mean by different origin? I mean, we know it's
Interstellar
interstellar,
origin?
so I mean, shit. Okay,
Wow.
I'm taking a pass on that one. Number 9, old
Okay.
old age, possible place of origin. If it comes from the galaxy's thick disk or a
Please stop saying that. I'm so sorry.
there's multiple problems with those just very few words, but unfortunately, I'm gonna have to reread it. Okay, number 9, old age, possible place of origin. Okay, straight face, guys. If it comes from the galaxy's thick disk or a low metallicity star system, it may be 7 to 14 billion years old.
A low hanging
Older
star system?
older than our it didn't say that. Older than our own solar system, which makes its composition and state atypical to what we know. Okay, great. To what
Yes.
we know. But it's odd, you know. As of now. And
Mm-hmm.
Interstellar could explain most of these. Not all, but most. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Yeah.
we don't know yet. Number 10, speculation of non. Now all I can think about is just coming out of a thick disk. Thanks.
You're
Uh,
welcome.
Number 10, speculation of non natural origin. Prominent figures such as Avi Loeb have flagged up to 9 anomalies and suggested the object might be artificial alien probe, although this remains speculative and not accepted by mainstream consensus. Now, hold up. I don't know that he has very strongly suggested that this may be artificial. Very
Oh.
early on in this, when he started telling us all about all these anomalies with it, one of the first things he stated is it's probably a comet. It's interstellar. We don't know where it came
Yes.
from, how it formed, what it's made of. It's probably a comet. However,
Correct.
what he's saying is because of the high amount of anomalous oddities with this goddamn thing, that we should keep our minds open to other possibilities. It doesn't mean we should focus all our efforts on those possibilities,
And
but we
just,
shouldn't throw them away
yeah.
because let's say there is life out there and let's say that life is able to get here. We're not going to know what it looks like. And you also have to remember, we're going to talk about this too. If 3i Atlas happens to be some type of manufactured alien object, it's almost guaranteed there's no life on it. And I would argue it's probably just a defunct craft of some type,
Mm.
no longer working, just like our shit. Voyager, guys, yesterday, Monday or Sunday, I believe it was, one of the two, I think. Voyager 1, you know, the one we sent off with the gold record with the chart of our solar system to tell everyone this is where you want to come blow
Don't
up.
tell me it's no
Uh,
longer sending messages.
oh, hold on. Um, yesterday or the day before, it reached one light day away from us. One
Oh,
light
light
day.
day.
It has
Wow.
taken it half a decade to get one light day,
Day.
meaning the distance it currently is now from us. If you were traveling at the speed of light, 670 million miles per hour, it would only take you one day to get there. This thing's taken 50 plus whatever freaking years to get there. Ugh. I mean, now on what you just stated,
Wow.
if I'm not mistaken, didn't they lose contact with it or one of the Voyagers at one point? Like they did think it was dead. It's been out so long, but it's crapped out. And then one day it started transmitting again. Wasn't that Voyager 1? Could be wrong. Could be something else. Look it up real quick. Look at it. Look at it. I
Looking it
could be
up.
wrong, but it's something. This was a thing. I want to say it's Voyager 1, possibly the second one. Um, but that is a thing. Now I don't know if it's still transmitting or not transmitting. I know we're watching it.
Voyager
Speak.
2.
Voyager 2. So
Yep.
that happened with Voyager 2. Went out
Yeah.
there, blah blah blah, been out there so long, and then done, dead, gone. Obviously we're still watching it. And then one day, just out of the blue,
No, actually,
bing, bing.
Voyager 2 lost communication after routine commands caused an antenna to point 2 degrees away from Earth, but NASA used a series of commands to reestablish contact.
Mm,
2
well,
months
maybe it was
later.
something else because what I was hearing had to do with it. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Here's the point. We have something out there that's been out there for 50,000 years. About 50 years, give or take. 50,000 years, guys. About 50 years. And it's only one light day away from us. It's not,
Yeah.
I mean, as a human, it's freaking far. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not far at all. And it's taken 50 years. Now, it's going to be tens and tens and tens of thousands of years, if not a million or more years, hundreds of thousands of years, before this thing comes to another solar system. Unless they specifically shot it out in a certain direction, like whatever that closest solar system is to us, which I believe is about 4 light years away. Unless they aimed it on a trajectory to meet up with that,
It's more than 4.
it's still going to take four freaking ever to get there. Now
Mm-hmm.
imagine it will most definitely be a dead satellite by the time it gets there. Imagine this coming through their solar system. Now, this is another thing I want explanation on from someone like Avi Loeb. Okay. And I think Voyager 1's a good example to use. So imagine you're living in some planet in some other solar system, and Voyager 1 just comes through and they catch this thing before it comes in the solar system. Like, what the
Mm-hmm.
hell? It's bright because of reflectivity, blah, 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 blah. We can't tell what it is and quite how big it is. Here's what I want to know. Because Avi Loeb has stated the idea that maybe there's a chance something like Atlas could be a manufactured object from life somewhere way out there. Well, what about the coma? What about the tails? What about the anti-tails? Okay, those are from sublimation. They're from the dust, cometary dust on it blowing off from the solar wind, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, when Voyager 1 gets to a solar system, God knows when, is that thing going to have crap built up on it that's going to sublimate off just from being in space? Is it going to have a dust that's going to blow off from solar radiation and create a 100,000 mile long tail? Is it going to form anything that can sublimate? Like, that's what I want to know. And the reason I want to know is because, well, if there's an object coming in at 130,000 miles per hour, 3i Atlas. And if people are trying to claim it is, or maybe it could be some type of alien technology, a satellite, some type of space station, some type of craft that no longer works and is just out there floating,
Mhm.
would it be showing sublimation of anything? Would anything have been built up on it to sublimate or to blow off? Yeah, I don't know. Think about our stuff, or is it the speed that has to do with it as well? Because think about the things we've built and put in space. Well, they're much closer to the sun than 3i Atlas. They're not burning up, they're not sublimating.
No.
So, what happens to a craft like Voyager 1, where let's say in 600,000 years it comes into a solar system, gets the same distance from the sun, from the star of that system as Atlas is to ours? Would it have anything built up on it to blow off or
I don't know.
sublimate?
I guess
I
you
want to
would
know.
have to ask if space. I mean, one way I guess of figuring that out is like finding out if space trash like carries like picks up dust. But I mean, that doesn't go
Well, yeah,
interstellar,
that's what I'm
so.
asking. Like, could anything form on this? Is it going to pick anything up? And that's what I want to know. We need more
Mm.
explanation on some of this, because some people actually use their brains and think when they're being told stuff, and you should question it. I totally believe Avi Loeb. He's a great guy. He works for Harvard. He's an astrophysicist. He's a professor. He knows his shit. He knows exactly what he's
Mhm.
doing. He could run circles intelligently around us all day long.
I
But
kind
someone
of
like me, huh?
I don't know. Personally, I kind of feel like it wouldn't pick up dust until after it gets out of our solar system.
I don't know, man.
Like, I don't know either, but
I don't know. I don't know, but this is what I'm
mm,
saying. We need
I'm
more
gonna Google
explanation
it.
on some of that
Yeah.
because we want to know. Number 12, unusual chemical pathways, industrial like compounds. Some articles claim the nickel emissions and certain compounds, example, nickel tetracarbonyl, are only known in terrestrial industrial processes, raising eyebrows about natural versus engineered origin. This goes back to what we were saying earlier, nickel and iron.
Mhm.
So they're seeing in the off gassing a ton of nickel, barely any iron. That's not normal to our current understanding. Any comet that comes in and starts sublimating, when they see the nickel, they usually see for a certain amount of nickel, certain amount of iron. And they're not seeing this. They're seeing a ridiculously low amount of iron. We've never seen that before, other than in one place. When we manufacture things, when we actually make things here, we get that to happen.
Mhm.
Make sense? So, interstellar could be the answer. Who knows? Uh, what's going on over there, Stevie? You're really freaking distracting me right now. You got the facial looks, you got the noises, you got the ha ha. What's going on?
So the
You got the fan
that you
noise
just
or whatever the
heard,
hell that
no,
was.
that was
Good
my
God.
dog dreaming under the bed. She was
Turn your shit off.
I muted it.
Turn your power box on the outside of your house off. Just bunk, 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 bunk.
No, well, I mean, then I would just completely disappear. No, that was my dog under the bed, about to have a dream and howling. So I
I didn't
had,
hear that. I didn't hear that.
no,
All
you
I
heard,
heard was a doo 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 doo.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, guess what? Number 13.
Yay, unlucky 13.
Its path appears to enter our solar system from within about 9 degrees of the sky region where the famous 1977 WOW signal originated. Now, 13 is the last one I have on here, but there's more. We'll get to at least one more.
Okay.
Actually,
Okay.
yeah, one, maybe two. I think one. So, back in 1977, there's a picture of the paper with the numbers on it, and the word wow handwritten on there.
Mhm.
Someone in this field was watching the numbers, and it looks like it's printed out on paper. So I think they are, say overnight, they're not working at a major observatory. They come in the morning, they print the shit out. They're looking at the numbers and they can see the oddities in the numbers. They're
Mhm.
expecting these numbers, these numbers, these numbers, but
That's
then they start seeing random
so
shit, right?
crazy.
Yeah,
That's insane.
for about 70 seconds there was this signal, Uh, it's called the wow signal because the
Mhm.
guy saw it and was like, "Wow!" He knew
Wow.
immediately, like, "That's weird."
Mhm.
To this day, they don't know what the hell it is, where it came from, originated from, I should say,
Mhm.
um, and they have no answer for it. And it's right up the alley of what we would possibly expect from a signal
Mhm.
from life like us.
Mhm.
But they don't know. They've never seen it again. They've been watching. It never has reappeared. But Three Eye Atlas, we know, came through Sagittarius. Well, guess what? The wow signal came through Sagittarius.
Sagittarius.
Three Eye Atlas came from within about 9 degrees of that in that region of the sky. That's interesting. But then again,
Yes.
we don't know where the wow signal came from. Did it come from 200 million light years away? Did Three Eye Atlas come from much closer and hit our trajectory after going around another star? I mean, there's plenty of reasons why this could happen. However, I have a number 14 for you. And this I just heard the other day and I looked it up. I'm not
Mhm.
going to tell you the name of the solar system because it's like a super long license plate, bunch of numbers and letters. Uh,
Oh, I
there's
like
this
that. Okay.
there's there's a solar system
Mhm.
and well, let me give you the name of the system. And it's not even a
Mhm.
system. I think it's a sun. It's a star. Um, I'll just tell you the name. It's lame. TYC 8241 2652 1. Look it up if you don't believe me. This came out the other day. It is a young sun analog star, the age they believe about 10 million years old, located about 450 light years away in the constellation Centaurus. Before 2008, the system showed a strong mid infrared excess. Example, lots of warm dust, consistent with a circumstellar or disk of dust, a debris or planet forming disk around the star. So let me just maybe make that a little more simple than that. You got a star and you have a lot of planet forming
Debris.
material that helps form planets, kind of like just dust floating in a disk around this star. Think of like the rings around Jupiter. I don't know what's in them, what they're made of. I don't really give a shit. All
Saturn.
I'm saying is, whatever. Saturn, that's what I said. Think of the rings around Saturn. Imagine Saturn being a star. Those rings are this just interstellar, there's dust that's accumulated around it, and eventually, over millions of years, it's going to form planets or something. Who knows, right? That's what this was prior to 2008. But then, between 2008 and 2010, the infrared light dropped dramatically by a factor on the order of, it says 30, a little squiggly line, 30, I don't know.
Approximate.
But implying that much of that dusty disk was removed, dissipated, or otherwise vanished. So basically, you got this star with a shit ton of this dust
Okay.
screwing around it on this disk, right? Probably going to form planets. And we're looking at that, studying it. And then in this two-year period of time, it mostly disappeared. The star is still there. That shit just gone. We've never seen that before. They can't explain it. So why is that odd? Why does that qualify as an oddity? The time scale is extremely short. What normally takes millions of years, for example, disk dispersal, planet formation, seem to happen, at least the observable dust component in just 1 to 2 years. And usually, from what we know, takes millions of years. The star itself didn't vanish, it's just the disk, the dust or gas around the star that dropped off. So
Hmm.
it's not the solar system disappeared, but the apparent planet forming dust disk disappeared. No fully satisfying explanation yet. Proposed models include a massive collision, which ground up the dust. dust being blown out by radiation, stellar wind, or being swallowed by the star. But each
Hmm.
has issues explaining such a rapid drop. Now you may be wondering, I've not said one thing about this star and this dust around it disappearing as it relates to 3i Atlas. Are you
Correct.
wondering why? So, 3i Atlas came through Sagittarius. Sagittarius is where the WoW signal came through. Atlas came from within 9 degrees of the WoW signal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the trajectory as it's going to exit our solar system from the gravitational pull of our star puts that trajectory, boop, right to the same region as this massively odd star with this dust system that just magically disappeared seemingly overnight, given the grand scheme of time and space. It came from the same direction as a massive oddity in
And it's
77,
leaving
and it's exiting on a trajectory that points directly to
to another
a rough
oddity.
area of the sky within certain degrees, right? Of this mysterious system, this star with
Another
all this shit
oddity.
that just disappeared.
Yeah. What the
Now,
fuck?
now I want to clarify something on that. It's not headed there. The trajectory it's exiting on is pointing there,
Mm-hmm.
but it'll never get there. Ever. It's going to pass it by behind it, like by God knows why. Because the direct trajectory is pointing right at it. Well, everything's moving,
Oh, yeah.
so
Yeah, yeah,
that'll be
yeah.
gone. It's not on a trajectory to intercept that star. It's just pointing in that direction now, which means by the time it gets
Heard.
there, that star's already going to be moved around the galaxy somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to take forever to get there, anyways. I mean, 450 light years away, 3i Atlas at about 130,000 miles an hour puts it at 5,000 years to go 1 light year. So for 3i
Ooh,
Atlas to
wow.
travel just 1 light year away will take approximately 5,000 years. What's 5,000 times 450?
I don't know. Tell
It
me.
doesn't matter. It's insane.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
how long it's going to take Atlas to get to that spot where that star is. But it's not going to meet up with that star. So
That's
that
wild.
is
That's wild.
just those two facts alone, coming from the similar direction as the WoW signal, exiting on a path that uh, the trajectory is aimed right around the same area as this other mysterious thing that happened.
Mm.
Just those two things alone, what are the freaking chances? You
What
know,
are the
who
chances?
knows? And then you add in everything else. Man, I mean, we talk about coincidence on the show quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think coincidence is important. I argue that there's a main question that comes up with weird things like this: UFOs, aliens, Bigfoots, and something like this.
Mm-hmm.
And the question with coincidence to me is, how many coincidences does any one scenario need before you say, hmm, maybe this isn't coincidence? Something's happening here.
Right.
I argue it's different for every scenario. Obviously, there's tons and tons of scenarios that have the same number of coincidences, but you don't know going in. So, in a way, it's different. It's going to be a different way to get to those coincidences on either one, and you got to wait for the scenario to happen to figure it out and find out.
Right.
Um, how many does it need? I mean, I just gave you 14 at least that are now known to be odd. It doesn't mean it's not natural. It's interstellar. This thing's probably been out there for billions of years, guys. I mean, honestly, it's probably been billions of years. This thing's moved around, come by tons of different stars. And I mean, come on.
All right. You want?
That could answer most of this. Not
Yeah.
all,
No,
but
that's
most.
exactly how I. That's what I've been thinking. Like the only two that
Yeah.
really me is gonna be 13 and 14. Like out of everything else, I'm like, all right, Interstellar. We just this is only really our third one. This one's quite large. We don't know. Like, we don't. But
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, no, 13
So
and 14, I'm just like,
yeah. Yep.
14, though, once you explained it, it makes a little bit more sense. It is interesting that it's headed that
Well,
way, but
do me
it's
a
just because
favor.
it's that
Do me
way.
do me a favor. Look
Yeah,
up
yeah.
real quick. So the WoW signal.
Mm-hmm.
Um, about how many light years away? I don't know how you're going to word that because it just came through Sagittarius. So we don't even know. Well, think about this. Think about that. You don't even have to look it up. Think about this. Uh, if the closest star to us in Sagittarius is about 6 light years away, if that fact is true, um, at 3i Atlas speed, it would have taken over 30,000 years to get here. What?
Uh,
Speak!
I was waiting for you to finish your damn sentence. Okay, no. The source of the WoW signal is unknown, but the most frequently
Right.
discussed potential sources is a sun-like star named 2 mass, lots of numbers, dash, a lot of numbers, located in the constellation Sagittarius, which is approximately 1,800 light years away.
Right.
That's a
Now,
really far
but
away
they don't
away.
know where it originated from. That's the thing.
I know, but
Right.
like,
So that signal, how fast is that signal traveling? Does it say, can you look up real quick, see if they have an approximation on how fast a signal like the WoW signal traveled? Is that light speed or is that something else? I want to say it's light speed, 670 million miles per hour, right? Speed of light. How
scientists
fast
don't
was the
know
WoW signal?
exactly, don't know the exact speed of the WoW signal, but recent research suggests it may have been moving at thousands of kilometers per second, with a Doppler shift indicating a very rapid motion.
Okay, now look up what is 1,000 kilometers in miles. Jesus, why is it all got to be kilometers, man? Ugh,
621.3 miles.
that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's wow, not fast at all. Well,
You look a
it
little
came within the
disappointed.
same area as that. It's exiting with a trajectory pointing towards a general area of another oddity out there. So
Mm.
coincidences. I mean, most of these can be answered by interstellar. Now, it can't be answered by interstellar until we can actually prove that. But we know because it's interstellar. We don't know where the hell it came from, what it's made of, how it was formed. Um,
What it's picked up
uh,
along the way.
imagine this. Imagine this, okay? Our moon is orbiting our planet. Let's say something happened. Can't even fathom what, and it just boom threw the moon off course, and it just headed right into Earth. I don't believe the moon would break Earth apart into gazillions of tiny pieces. I don't know that it. I mean, obviously it's large, but regardless of how it breaks up our planet or a portion of it, whatever, you could most likely expect there's going to be massive miles and miles and miles long chunks of Earth just going breaking off and going poof, out into space.
Mm-hmm.
There's your next comet for the first solar system that thing comes through, right?
Yeah. And
Seriously. And
yeah, because that
and
is
what's
the
it made
theory of
of?
how the solar system was made, was that like we
Yeah,
had like way more planets at a time, like 20 something, and they all collide, well, not all of them, but a lot of them collided and formed into what we know as moons and earths and Jupiter's moons and all
right.
of that. So I mean, that
Yeah.
it
Now,
definitely makes sense, because that created a lot of comets that then again went
yeah.
off into being interstellar comets,
Yep.
probably.
So imagine these,
Yeah.
who knows how many miles long chunks of land of ours, let's say part of a freaking mountain, right? I
Mm.
mean, oh, you could say a whole mountain, depending where this moon comes and hits. Maybe there's a couple different mountains that just get sheared off and just go out into space. Now imagine that. Um, and you think mountains massive on a human scale, it is, but they're only miles high. That's it. It's not, they're not, if that.
I feel like if the moon
So
hit the Earth, it would just be cataclysmic.
so imagine a mountain just boom, going off into space. Number one, that's going to have an odd look. Number two, what's in that mountain? You could have a shit ton of gold ore in there.
Mm-hmm.
So as this thing comes into a solar system about the same distance from a star that Atlas is to our star, um, this thing starts sublimating. Pressure starts building up inside. Shit starts shooting out, off gassing, um, and now you have a color. But as other things sublimate off and maybe blow off, um, now you start getting the gold to sublimate. Can that even happen? You might start getting another color change, right? My point is, we don't know what the hell 3i Atlas is made of. If it is a comet, which it most likely is, just that alone could account for so much of this.
Yeah.
And Avi Loeb has stated such. He believes it's most likely a comet, but back to coincidences, there's so many oddities with this goddamn thing. What? You know, and don't forget Oumuamua, the first one we recognized with our scopes and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Oumuamua was very odd as well. Avi Loeb had a problem with that comet too. There was a few different oddities. I don't recall them, but I recall one that was interesting. As it went around our star, the sun, and started going away from the sun back out to interstellar, it sped up. That's not typically a problem. The problem is when they speed up, if they speed up going away from the sun, it's because of sublimation. Shit's off gassing now
Mm-hmm.
towards the back of it,
Right.
towards the sun, right? In the opposite direction this comet's going. That's how you get the speed. But there was no visible off gassing from Oumuamua. It just sped up.
Hmm.
No visible off gassing. So there's been issues with Atlas and non-gravitational acceleration without visible off gassing that would cause it. So another oddity that is there. So it's anyone's guess, but it's really, really odd. All these things. Now, first of all, I got a little more to talk about, but first of all, going through all these oddities, where are you at on this thing? Like, what do you think about all that? I don't know how much of it you've heard in the past. I know you've heard some, but what do you think so far, just from all these oddities?
Like I said, the only one, well, I mean, honestly, it's really just 13. Like, I'm like, that's the one that piques my interest the most. Other than that, I'm just like you said, I need more explanation, or,
Mm
Interstellar could totally just like explain it. But the whole coming from within 9 degrees of
hmm.
where the wow signal came from, like,
nine degrees, yeah.
yeah, that's not a lot in the idea of space. Um,
And for people who are out there who don't think about this stuff and sizing and
mhm.
stuff, spend 5 minutes and do it. It's not hard. I never did it until recently, and I got a much better mental image understanding of it. And I think some of these diagrams, these like videos that have been put together showing our planets going around the sun, exactly where they're at that time, and 3i Atlas's trajectory. Oh, and the other oddity coming close to 3. We got to talk about a little more. We'll get into a couple more oddities here. And you see the trajectory of 3i Atlas and where it's going and how close it's coming to these planets, these 3 planets. It's like around 17 million miles to one, around 30 for another, around 60-ish thousand for another, or 70,000 for another, or million miles from the third planet.
Mhm.
Well, that's very close. I've heard some people talking on their shows like ours saying, guys, that's bullshit. That's not that close. Yeah, 17 million miles, the closest one. 17 million miles, that's so goddamn far, blah, 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 blah.
Mm,
But when you,
not
on a
really.
human scale, that's massively far.
Oh,
That's
yeah, yeah,
insane.
yeah.
Okay. But when you zoom out from a human level to a solar system level, and you look at our solar system and you see where these planets are, now you see that even that 60 or 70 million mile distance from one of those three planets is very close. No, it's not in danger of hitting a planet or anything, but it is ridiculously close,
Yes.
massively close.
Yes.
Now, if you zoom out more to a galactic scale and look at the galaxy,
It's even smaller.
well, it's right on your doorstep, man.
Yeah.
Um, so
That's
I
the one that piques my, but again, that's the only like true coincidence to me. Everything else I feel
mhm,
like can be explained further by someone who has more knowledge, or it's just, hey, it's intergalactic. What the fuck do we honestly know? This is our
yeah,
third encounter. And
yep,
like this could have a totally different origin than Oumuamua. So we
yeah,
can't even compare those two incidences together
yep,
truly.
and
So
eh, you
that's
know,
that's where I stand.
yeah, and so what? Back to what I was saying right there. Take 10, 20, 30 minutes just once and just think about the sizes and the speeds. Look up what is a light year, right? I mean, it's simple, but most people don't know some of this stuff. What is light speed? Most people don't know. Yeah, I didn't know until recently because I never cared. I never had a reason to, you know. And
Google and Chat
then you see
GPT
all
is your
this stuff.
friend.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then you see all this stuff, and you see just a couple diagrams, and now you get a really good grasp as to some of the issues with something like Three Eye Atlas, right? So
Yeah.
that's that. There are some more audio. What did I just mention? Oh man, went off on another tangent. At least it was a related tangent, but there there was a couple more oddities with this thing. Oh yeah, so coming so close to three separate planets. Well, that is answered by, well, it's because it's coming in our inner solar system.
Yeah.
Our
It's
inner
just,
solar system, you got four planets that are fairly close to the sun orbiting around it. They have
yeah. A
a much
tight, yeah.
shorter
Rotation. Yeah.
yeah. Now you get to like Jupiter, which is one of the planets 3i Atlas is coming ridiculously close to. Jupiter's on this massive orbit around our star. You look at it and it goes out of frame from the inner planets.
It it
It goes
is
far out.
it is almost damn near an outer planet.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
goes far out,
It really
which is
does.
interesting because the size of that orbit is massive around
Mhm.
our star, yet 3i Atlas managed to make that one of the three planets it's going to get very close to.
It's all
It's also
based on
coming.
where it is in its rotation when it comes
Well,
through.
yes, but this goes back to coincidences. And how many coincidences are there here? I
I
mean,
don't
there's a
find that to be
ton,
a
right?
coincidence, honestly. But yeah.
Well, you could.
You could,
That's
yes,
the
you could.
thing. If it look, here's the thing. If it was just that one thing, it would be two. To come close to three planets, it's gonna have to come in on the ecliptic plane. I'm gonna ask, what the hell do you keep turning on and off?
My mic.
Why?
Because my
What is it you have on back there? Turn that off.
no, it's my chair. It keeps making like really bad farting noises. And like
No,
every
there's a
time it
constant no, there's a constant noise like a blowing or something. She is gone.
my
It's just a
computer.
constant static blowing
It's my
something.
computer.
Yeah, gonna have to fix that next show. That is annoying.
I
And
don't
unfortunately for you guys out there, that is gonna come through and not much way to get rid of it. Unless we record the show again. So if you take it coming in within the ecliptic plane and the inner part of our solar system, if just that alone happened and it came by three planets, I wouldn't be calling odd on anything. But you throw in all this other shit with it, and now it becomes one more oddity. Here's the other thing. It actually had a point where it was exactly opposite the sun from Earth. That takes a second to wrap your mind around. It is very simple, which which you will realize. But think about our orbit around the sun. There's
Can I pull up a
very
model
few
to look at?
there's very few points where the sun is going to be exactly opposite of Earth with the sun in the middle. It's all around the sun. You got a straight line going from Atlas to Earth, going right through the middle of the sun. There's only a few degrees there that can happen on.
Mm-hmm.
Another oddity. Another oddity is, in this one, I don't really care for,
Mm-hmm.
but it was one of the first oddities was when it hits perihelion, which it already has now,
Right.
Earth's going to be on the opposite side of the sun. Well, it's not exactly opposite. That was at a different point, but we're going to be in a place where we can't see it. And now I've not heard this explained, but I believe, to me, I believe the reason they're saying that may be because this is the only planet in our solar system with life on it. So they're finding it odd that it's coming so close to three planets, and actually it's coming very close to our the trajectory that our planet orbits the sun on.
Mm-hmm.
We're just gonna be on the other side of the sun at perihelion.
Yeah.
We already were,
Yeah,
right?
we were.
But it's not exact opposite. We've already met that meeting point where we are exactly opposite Atlas with the sun in the middle, and it's going perihelion. Boom! Now we're coming around. It's going out here. It's not going to get close to us. Um,
Correct. I remember us
it
talking about this.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is another oddity, but yeah, perihelion at perihelion when it was at its closest to the sun, we were on the other side of the sun. I don't know that I really find that too odd. I think they're saying it because it's coming so close to three planets, but yet the one with life, it seems like it's avoiding it as if it's smart, as if it doesn't want us to really know it's there. It's hiding so we can't get a good look. And
Whatever. Whatever.
I highly argue that, and here's why. Now you're making an assumption that it is alien technology
Yeah.
and is actually being piloted, whether on board,
And there's like
remotely,
a
or
consciousness to it.
automated by AI, but it's avoiding us. Now you're suggesting that from wherever, way the fuck out there, millions of light years away, they're able to see that not only is there
Little
actual
joysticks.
real life visible on our planet, but there's intelligent life that they already know somehow that we have telescopes and we have deep space, or we have telescopes in space to look for this stuff. Well, it makes no sense. Then
Right.
wouldn't they want to avoid all that shit? Because
Right?
if they're that smart to know all that, then surely they
Be
know of
like,
our
oh, fuck
telescopes in
that.
space and that's what we're going to use to look at them with.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless the other options are that have been brought up is that unless at perihelion, that being planned so that we're on the other side of the sun, meaning we can't see them, that would be around the perfect time to shoot out a bunch of drones, projectiles of sorts, satellites, whatever, to curve right into our orbit and come check out Earth while Atlas continues on its way. That maybe a little more likely possibility, although so slim. Like, come on, doesn't even matter.
Right.
But so I mentioned early on, I firmly believe if 3i Atlas, the odd chance, if it's even possible, if it is, when they say alien technology, they're not meaning alien spacecraft with aliens on board. They say alien technology, they're meaning something built, manufactured by life somewhere else. We don't know where. Okay. So you can't think of it as just only, if you're going to go that whole route, that it's not a comet. You can't just jump on board with aliens are on board, it's a spacecraft. This thing's been out there for probably millions, if not billions, of years cruising around. Granted, I can't speak for any life out there, if there even is any, and give anyone any type of knowledge on their lifespan. We don't know. Maybe there's life out there that can live hundreds of millions of years. I doubt it. And
That'd
then
be
you're talking about
crazy.
getting the intelligent life like us and beyond, living for that long. To our current understanding, it's fair to say it's probably not a thing. So here's my idea. I believe it's comet. What? Something is like moving my table here. Um, 3I Alice is most likely a comet. I believe it's comet, right? Until
Yes.
we, I'll be 99.9%
Yeah,
sure it's comet,
I
whatever.
agree. I'll agree with that.
But let's put that aside and just hypothetically say, turns out it is a manufactured artifact from life somewhere else. If
That'd be so
it is a spaceship, if it's actually a ship built for traveling through space for whatever reason, go mine materials, minerals, elements, to look for life, to go find other resources for them, that life, I would argue there is zero life on board the ship. It would be
cool.
fully autonomous, probably some type of like AI type thing, if you can imagine that, or more
Autopilot.
controlling it. Um, maybe chances it's never even going back to where it came from.
Oh
I
yeah.
argue there's no life on there, and that if there is life on there, there's only one way. And dead doesn't count because that's no longer life. There's only one way there's life on there. Wrap your head around this shit. Well, two ways there's life. Number one, you're looking at the possibility of portals and wormholes, one of the two or both being an actually real thing, where you can go whoop whoop and you're there.
Mm-hmm.
If that's not a real thing, which to our understanding it's not, there's no way for it to get here quick. Therefore, there'd be no more life on it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The other way, there could be life if you think about movies that we've all seen where humans go travel a long distance to go to some other planet. And what do? Cryogenics. Cryogenically freeze a person, a state of
Suspended
suspended
animation.
animation.
Hmm.
And then it's time release or some bullshit. And when it gets close to where it's going, boom, people start waking up, come out, dump all the liquid out of their lungs or whatever the hell they happen.
Ah!
They're cryogenically frozen. Some they do a liquid, who knows? Um,
Oh, that's
that's the only
gross.
way in my mind that if this was an alien spaceship, that there'd be life on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh.
That's the only thing I can think of. But there's so many problems with that, and this goes back to my whole hey guys thinking idea. Think about this stuff just for a little bit. Try and backtrace these things and reverse engineer in a way these ideas. Well, if this is a craft traveling at about 130,000 miles per hour, at least currently, um, how long would it have had to have been out there? Well, look at where the trajectory comes from. What's the farthest star we can see? We know it didn't come from there, but what's
Mm-hmm.
the farthest star we can see? Because we don't know where it came from, where it turned, any of that. Okay, that farthest star is 80 million light years away. Well, we know at 5,000 years just to travel one light year for 3i Atlas, 5,000 times 80 million, right? I mean, it's insane. Um, you're talking about having to build the most perfected, perfect craft. Every single thing cannot break. Nothing can go wrong with this craft. And if there's possibilities things can go wrong, you're talking about having to have robots or robotic machinery on board that
Mm-hmm.
can slide around, move around to go fix things. You're talking about if it works like us, you have to have wires connecting all the
Wally.
electrical stuff. Well, you got to have those on the outside of the walls of the ship so that these robotic
Yeah, there's so
machinery
much
can
to
get
go
to them to
along with it.
fix problem. Right.
Yes.
You're talking about this thing having to be built perfectly,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
especially if life is asleep cryogenically, whatever. Otherwise, the mission's blown. You got life on board. So I argue if this is an artifact from life somewhere else, it's a defunct ship or something else they had out in space, maybe in their own solar system, somehow got away, whatever, something they just sent out, defunct. That's what
Yeah,
I think if it weren't a comet, but it is most likely, unfortunately, a comet.
agreed. 100% agree with you.
So I recommend you guys go check out Avi Loeb's stuff. I don't want to hear bullshit of, nah, he's a piece of shit. People don't like it because he's telling the truth, and nobody else is. So I would recommend listening to him for a while, a couple different interviews, not 5 minutes, and listen to what he's saying. You'll get a good idea that what people are saying about him is just not true, and that he's claiming things. I mean, he's just not. He's giving you the facts, data, everything. So it's a comet, guys, until it's not, and then we're screwed, or it's probably going to be the best day of our lives. And you also want to keep in mind we don't want alien life here. Keep that in mind. If spaceships, if flying saucers with gray or little green men on board is a fucking thing, you do not want it to come here. It's not going to be a sunset on a beach in Hawaii. You know what's going to you know what could happen, and I'm not going the argument route of they might be hostile, they might be friendly. No, fuck that. It doesn't even matter.
Mm-mm.
When that thing fucking lands on the ground here, the second a door on that opens, or if it they materialize through the walls and come out, the second a door on that craft opens, or the second alien life steps out, we're at a massive risk of viruses, pathogens, shit
Mhm.
that we aren't used to immediately
Same
being
for them,
present,
though.
and we're all fucking dead. Oh, no, you don't know that.
That's how War of the Worlds happened.
You
Sorry.
don't a fucking movie that we don't know that. We would assume that from what we know about life here, but we don't know that. But what we do know, humans will probably be completely fucked if alien life is real and it comes here. You're this shit's gonna go around. You're gonna think your syphilis in the 20s was a heyday if this happens. You don't want life from somewhere else coming here.
No.
There's a reason the astronauts get back and they quarantine for days. There's a reason why, people.
I mean,
Reasons why.
it's
You don't.
exactly the same thing what happened when people from other continents first stepped foot onto other continents.
So that's
Like,
one reason
it's
we're.
the same
So
thing.
you know that island, North Sentinel Island?
Oh, the one that they'll kill you
Yeah.
if you step foot on? Yeah.
Yeah, North Sentinel Island, they have these uncontacted tribe living there.
Mhm.
And these people are like, they're almost naked, wearing orange,
They're
mud,
very
whatever.
much
Um,
living in a primitive age.
from a decade or two ago, I mean, we have photos from planes circling the island
Mm.
of them standing there with their bows and arrows aimed
Trying
at
to
the
shoot
plane.
the.
Like
Yeah.
they don't know what's going on. Um, it's the same thing. It is illegal to go to that island.
Mm-hmm.
It is illegal to go within a certain distance of
Mm-hmm.
that island. If we were to go on there and actually be able to contact them without them
Killing us?
molesting our innards, um, there's a very
That's
good
one way to put
chance
it.
we would introduce something that
Mm-hmm.
they've not been introduced to before that is going to kill them, get
Mm-hmm.
them massively sick. Their bodies won't be able to fight it because they're not used to it, and they're gone.
Yep.
So it's one of many reasons it's illegal to go there.
Yes.
But I say if someone's stupid enough to go there,
Go there. You're not gonna.
bye. You might not be doing much for society anyways if you're that dumb. I
Yeah.
think it's a cool idea. I mean, you think about and try and go talk to a tribe like that, like communicate with them for the first time, how cool that would be.
I.
But they're gonna just rip your nuts off and scalp you.
Yeah. Honestly, I
And
think the fact that they defend their way of life like that so truly and violently, I really applaud them for that. They're like, nah,
Well, it's
fuck.
because they don't know. They don't know.
I know, and it's probably best they don't.
It's just like North Koreans. They don't know. Dude, guys, check out Sean Ryan's show. There's a North Korean lady. Oh man, she's cute too. She's young, like I don't know, 30s.
Mm,
Um, oh my god, he's asking her questions about how she got out of North Korea and all this stuff.
so crazy.
She said there's only one train.
Mhm.
She said it goes one place and it could take up to a month to get there. And Sean Ryan is like, huh? How would it take up to a month? She goes, well, there's no electricity. Sometimes things happen and the people have to get out and push the train. And I'm like, oh my God. She goes, there's people starving in the streets where that real life is. She said she saw someone, it was a guy who was basically almost dead, um, totally malnourished. She said, when you get
Yeah.
malnourished, well, he was laying on the ground with his rear hole open very wide with intestines coming out. She goes, when you get that malnourished, your holes become wide and the stuff just comes out. His intestines were coming out. She goes, there was dogs walking around him checking it out. Um, and she's talking about this life in North Korea. It's the same thing. Like it's alien. They have no clue what's outside. And she's talking about we weren't taught this or this or this. There's
Mhm.
no emotion. That's why a lot of us don't have any emotion. Um, she goes, if you leave the house, she goes, who knows how long it's going to take your mom to get back home from trying to do whatever she's trying to do, and if she's even gonna come home, probably die. It's bad. They have
Yeah.
no idea there's an outside world. Almost none. They're 100% propaganda. So we don't want alien life here.
Mm-mm.
There's a good chance just their very presence could massively hurt us bad.
Yep. I
On
mean,
that note, if you have an obscured story of your own, shoot us an email, obscuredr1@gmail.com. Type story in the subject line and tell us your story. We'll tell it for you on here. And we'll probably do the funny newscast one. With that said, it's a goddamn comet, but it might not be a comet. With
it's a
that said,
comment.
you got any parting words on Three Eye Atlas?
It's a comment.
It's a comet. You heard it here first and second today. uh, it's a comet.
It's a
With that,
comment.
boom, we're out of here. Peace.